Hi everyone. I thought I'd do my Techo Kaigi for Hobonichi items. There's certain brands that I follow in particular and use in particular. So I thought for this Techo Kaigi, I would do um, by brand specific on what I use. So Hobonichi I've been using since 2014. And I thought what I would do is go through each size and how I've been using each size over the years and what I plan to use for next year. So I thought I'd start with the A6, what I've used in the past, what I'm currently using, and what I plan to use next year. So in the past, I've had these A6 notebooks mainly for meeting notes, scratch notes at my desk. So I had this one here. Right now I have a Hobonichi Notes grid notebook in this one. It's blank. This one's not used at the moment. Um, then I also had this one. My original plan when I got this one back in, I don't know, 2020 or 2021 was to do watercolor in it. But this particular paper is not the same as the Tomoe River paper. So these little artist notebooks that you see in the Hobonichi tools section is not the same kind of paper. So my plan is for this year to use this notebook as my scratch memo pad, because the nice thing too is that it's a glue book. So really you can just rip out the individual pages as you go through it. So that's probably what I'm going to do. I'll probably rip out these original watercolor pages that are in here and just use this as my jot down meeting notes as I go, the ones that I have online at my desk for my online job. So I can just have a place to scribble down notes and throw those notes away as I go. So that's how that one will be used in 2026. This is another one. This is more of a sentimental collector cover for me. This was my favorite character growing up in Japan, Doraemon. And so in here, I just have the photo sleeve, and it just has some old ID cards of ours from when we lived in Ecuador and some extra notebooks. So this just kind of stores some extra small things from Hobonichi that I've had over the years. This has been my workhorse this year. This one is what I use for my Bible study notes. So on our different meeting days and on Sunday, I'll take all of those notes in here. And I find that I listen more and take less notes the older that I get. So I really only used about half of this particular notebook this year. This one is done in the cafe note, A6 size. And I have about half of this notebook left. So I'm just going to continue in 2026 in the same notebook. I'm not going to set up anything different for my meeting notes. I'll just continue using this one. I switched over to this one in 2025 from this one that I used in 2024. And the biggest difference is the zipper. So in the larger notebooks, the A5, it doesn't bother me as much. But I found that in an A6 size, I just felt like I was running into the zipper all the time, whether it be on the side or the bottom. And I just really didn't like that feeling. So as much as I love this cover, I want to keep the cover, but I transitioned out of it after I finished my notes from 2024, um, mainly because of the zipper. So I found for me personally, I like this style of a Hobonichi cover better. I have it upside down. I like this style better because my hand doesn't run into a zipper anywhere. Now, the last A6 I've been using is literally carried with me every day. So this is the A6 Porter. This was released at the in September 2024 is when this one launched. So this one is my everyday carry, And so it has my medical directive, it has license, credit cards, all of that in this area. Money fits nicely in this little sleeve here. Extra stickers fit in the back pocket. And I've been using the A6 Hon. This has really been like my little junk journal on the go, or like when I went to a little craft place, Craft Fest in Houston, I was able to log some of that trip in here. It's just kind of like a catch-all for ephemera and to kind of write about that weekend or story. This was um, some washi and things like that I've saved over the years, that one of my daughters had given me, and I hadn't pulled it out and used it. So I went ahead and logged some of that in here. Trying not to find the things that don't have other people's names. Our trip to California is logged in here. Oh, here's one. I don't think this has anything personal. Double check. Nope, it doesn't. So when I found all the stuff with Hello Kitty from Starbucks, I put all of that in here as well. So this has just been a nice little carry-all, and I've really enjoyed using this year. So this year they released a black porter in the A5. So I'm not sure if that's going to feel too big, but I do have it. Um, I'm planning to use the A5 cousin version of this next year. So this is supposedly my last week in this little guy. We'll see. This size has really been perfect for me. So, sometimes they say if it's not broke, don't fix it. I may do better putting an A6 in this again, but I thought I would try the A5 to see how that one feels. The main reason for switching to the A5 is my phone does not fit in here. So several times this year, I've left my phone somewhere, whereas the A5 version, my phone does fit in the back pocket. So that's the main reason for my switch over, is because I don't carry a purse. This is what I carry. It has my lip gloss in it. It has my hand sanitizer here in the back pocket, and my business cards are in the front. This is my everything, my wallet, purse, all in one. So we'll see. We'll see how that A5 version works for me in 2026. Tell you what, a Techo Kaigi is kind of like going down memory lane of all the different Hobonichis I've used over the years. So this one here was my 2024 day free, and this was really a catch-all of everything. Some of my favorite things I love about it are things like this. With the big calendar, I was able to make larger photos for more important events, smaller photos for smaller days. But I loved being able to just kind of take all those snapshots that are on my camera and put them in a calendar format. Um, as those days came through. So, just some little pictures with the family or what I was doing for work, different things like that is kind of captured in that. And so that's what I'm looking forward into going using a cousin again this year, is that I plan to implement that of what I was using in the day free inside of the larger Hobonichi. And then the same thing that I did in uh, in my Hon, my A6 Hon this year, is again just take that ephemera from different things that I bought over the past year and journal about them in the notebook. So that's kind of the idea that I'll do in the one that I'll be carrying in that purse, the porter that I have. This is an attempt at a commonplace notebook, which I've just kind of started. I haven't done a video on it yet because I haven't finished setting it up, but I do have like some vinyl letters I've put in there, um, and different notes about, for example, Sashiko things, some of my swatches. I think these are my Caran d'Ache, what are they called? Neocolor 2s. So there's just a few random things in this as my commonplace planner. These are what I used to use for my meeting notebook. So I have 3 years of these. They're completely full. When I was writing a lot more for my meeting notes and my personal study all in one. So there's 3 of these that I used over the years. Let me see. This is probably my favorite cover. I love how this one feels. Has just that beautiful texture. It's a Mina Perhonen designer cover made for Hobonichi. And yeah, so how I had done these is I would tab the Bible books that we were in, but also I tabbed what month we were in for each pages. And with this, I used the Stalogy. This is the Stalogy 365. So I used that for 3 years in a row before I switched over to the small little A6 that I use now. And the last big one that I haven't used a lot of yet is this is my ink journal. So I just started setting this one up. The reason why I wanted to use this one is this is an extra from the Hobonichi 2022. So that old paper that everyone loved so much, the original Hobonichi paper, that's what is in this journal. And that particular year, I think when I bought this cover in particular, I think I got it from Jet Pens, and back then you could only get that cover with the planner inside of it. So this one in particular never got used, but I thought I'd repurpose it and use it as my ink swatch journal. So I thought a dark cover like this would be great because I'm sure I'm going to be getting ink on stuff. And I just love this designer. I think her items are so cute. So I have the matching pencil board by her as well. And so that's what's stowed away in that one. So the goal for 2026 is to use this one. So this is the Porter in black. This is the A5. Here's what I'm currently using. Here's my A6. So you can see it's quite a bit bigger than what I've been using. But again, the whole point is my phone fits in this back pocket. So yeah, so this one I have the 2026 Cousin. So this will be my first time going back into a Cousin. And the idea is to make this my all-in-one planner. So I already showed you how I've been using the day free with the calendar to just kind of put down pictures from my phone month to month in this calendar section. I also use and have been using a Kokuyo Jibun Techo Days in an A5 Slim. I've also used the B6 for a number of years now, probably 4 years, 3 or 4 years now. But the layout is similar to this. I love the weekly layout because I can take any notes or any tasks that I need to do for work for that week and I can stick it there. And I usually have an idea in my head of who I spoke to when or what project we spoke about um, date wise. So it's an easy flip. So instead of using a separate planner for that this year, I plan to go ahead and use this. So this will be on my desk as well so that it's being used every day. And instead of buying a separate planner, I'm going to use what I already have inside of this one. So that's how those will be used. And then I can go into the daily pages, just like I've been doing before, just the ephemera from day to day, whatever supplies I've bought, whatever things I want to swatch out. I can just stick them here on the dailies. If I feel like journaling about the day, I can journal about the day and it will always be with me. So that's something nice is that I have found like when I've been at a doctor's appointment or, having to wait in a waiting room, I like to just be able to pull it out since it's with me already. And I'm just able to jot down whatever I want to jot down at any time because it's already with me. So we'll do a setup video on this for the beginning of the year. But this is going to be my all-in-one planner for 2026. So the last type of Hobonichi planner that I use on a regular basis is also the Hobonichi Weeks. And it's actually the one I had started with years ago. It probably became more of a daily staple for me back in 2015 through 2016, while we lived in, actually through 2018, when we lived in Ecuador, I was able to keep all my notes, and it also acted like my wallet back then. Um, so ever since then, I have used a Weeks, but the purpose for my Weeks has changed. So this is my everyday scripture writing journal. This one is from 2022. And from that year in particular, they made like these, they started making these pencil cases that you can strap on to the Hobonichi. So I really loved that because I was able to keep a pen with my Hobonichi Weeks to write out the scriptures in the mornings. So that was 2022. This was 2024. It's probably one of my favorite covers of all time. And then this is the one I've been using this year. So this is the pencil case that I got. And then I've been using it in this one. Let me see. I'm trying to find one that doesn't have too many personal notes in it. Yeah. So it's not anything fancy at all. I literally just write the verse for the day. And then if there's any notes that I want to write, I'll write them on the side. Um, but a lot of these are more like personal reflection notes. So yeah, so that's how I've been using that. So my setup for 2026 is I've had this cover for a couple of years now. Tragen, I forget how they pronounce it. But what's nice is here you can, store pens that you're using for that day. And I have the bow and tie with this particular with these characters. So that's going to be the one that I will be using for 2026. So I have them all the way back to 2024. So I guess I have now 12 years worth of Hobonichi Weeks. Most of those are in storage. I haven't kept most of those where I live right now, but I still have them stowed away in safekeeping. One of the covers that I have for the Weeks that I've never used is this one here. It's the Mina Prahonen. It's kind of like a wallet. I've used this more as like when we go out for a wedding or something like that. I've used this kind of like my wallet to go out for dressier occasions. I'm usually wearing navy or black or something like that, and it just goes well. Couple of other Hobonichi items that I have is most of those items that are like in their toys and tools section, I have in this Anna pouch. And yeah, I store ephemera in here, extra stickers, extra pencil boards that I'm not using at the moment from Hobonichi, stickers, and also their little templates. I have a couple of these that I've stuck in here as well. So this is just kind of my accessories pouch. It also holds my like what is in my currently inked journal, which I need to clean out a lot of my fountain pens. It's another thing I need to do at the beginning of the year for my currently inked is see which ones are still flowing and which ones need to be cleaned out for the beginning of the year. I also have this cute little one from Hobonichi, Doraemon on the front with Nobita-kun on the back. Really cute. And in here it has, it's kind of like I like to use this to just stick on the counter any of the current washi tapes that I'm using and also glue runners. So it has a tool by Kokuyo that I use in there, and then my glue, and I can just open this up and use those current rolls of washi tape. So that is my Techo Kaigi for Hobonichi for 2025 and what I'll be using in 2026. How about yourselves? Please comment below. Let me know what you'll be using. What's your favorite ones to use? Do you use a little bit of each one that they have, or do you stick to like one book only for the whole year? I'd love to hear your story. Next video will be my Traveler's Company setup for 2026. And yeah, we'll see how this works out for the next year. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.